And we're going to kick off with the Daily Mail. Bruce, what are the Mail leading with on Saturday?
So they're leading with the PM, Rishi, is telling marchers respect our sacred ceremony. This is in wake of the planned demonstration tomorrow.
Yes, and the Met Police are saying they've now got round the clock guard of the cenotaph.
Yeah.
There are concerns that they think even up to 500,000 protesters might turn up. So there are tensions.
Yes, and there's metal fencing all around the Remembrance Field.
Yes.
And anyone that goes in that will be arrested.
So it's interesting this because, I've made the case on this show before that, we shouldn't be banning protests. I understand that there is a sensitivity around this particular date, around the armistice, but I think to ban it would be wrong. But what I think we need to do is the police to do their job. So when protesters step over the line into criminality, the police to actually do something, not just stand by where people are throwing fireworks at them or abusing people or calling for jihad or whatever else they were doing. Is that the way to go, Nick?
Yeah, I read your article, actually. It was very good. It was very good on the free speech aspect. Toby was saying to me you didn't think about the safety aspect enough, which is what you're saying now. There is a safety aspect.
Yes, of course.
If it goes ahead.
But part of the point of liberalism is that it requires the law. It requires an adherence to the law and an application of the law,
I would ban it. I totally disagree.
I know you would.
I'm not smart enough to beat your article, but I would ban it. But, I mean, look, someone made a point, if you don't protect your borders, you end up having to protect everything else. We have to now have little cordoned off areas around all our monuments. It is pretty disturbing. I mean, it's a massive part of our national story, World War I,
I
World War
am
II.
aware of that sensitivity, yes.
And you end up with a kind of tyranny of minorities, and I don't mean ethnically necessarily, but in every sense, we're seeing with the sort of woke movement, very minor movements, whether it's a trans thing, whatever, end up dominating all of society. I think this is another example of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping, because of course there's been lots of stories as well as of other groups turning up to try and either protect the cenotaph or protect the remembrance events, and that there might be clashes. That's always a worry. But I do think, Bruce, peaceful protest in a civilised society has to be upheld. I would argue.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has a right to opinion, sort of thing. But as you say, it's just how that will be handled and what the police will do. But then we don't know what they're going to come up against necessarily.
We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. I think emotions are very high because of the choice of the date, but also some of the protesters at the Palestine marches have been effectively, celebrating Hamas and that kind of thing. And so that obviously is very disturbing and disgusting. Yeah. And so that gets people even more angry,
Rightly so. But don't you think it's somewhat disingenuous, Andrew, that they easily cancelled an EDL march? The Met Commissioner asked the Home Office and they said yes, cancelled. They cancelled all our rights during lockdowns, easy enough. Then there seems to be this, a lot of people are talking about this two-tier system. Swallow Bradman's implied that that's what we have. The police have denied it. But we do seem to have that. Another example was the ridiculous BLM marches during COVID. It was like, no, we're allowed to march for BLM, but that beats COVID.
I think that's my point, is the double standards. Applying the law equally obviates all of these issues, But like you say, there have been so many examples where the police just haven't done their job, and the suggestion has been because they're ideologically not necessarily opposed to what the people are doing, And
I do sympathise for the individual police officer dealing with a tough situation. It could be violent. But there does seem to be an ideological issue. They deny it, but there seems to be something going on whereby there is this two-tier approach. It's certainly the perception of it.
Well, I think when Hizb ut-Tahrir are calling for jihad, nothing is done, and the police actually put out a tweet defending them and saying, well, jihad can mean anything.
And in a struggle.
Yeah, as opposed to, arresting a Christian for praying silently. So there is a weirdness about it.